Hi, Gemini Sun and Rising. Welcome to your July 2024 Astro Update. It's Rena here. Alrighty then. So July is notable for the blue moon that we're going to have in Capricorn. The blue moon is the second full moon in a month. And so every full moon we have an opposition between the sun and moon. So that will affect opposing houses. In your case, Capricorn is the 8th house for you. So the money houses of the 2nd and 8th houses will be engaged. But I'm going to get there when I get there because that's later in the month. As the month of July begins, we have the Sun and Mercury in Cancer. Cancer for you is the 2nd house of earned income. So this can be you for some reason, and this is, of course, you're going to have Mercury every year pretty close to the Sun, very close to the Sun. But I'm also thinking about retrogrades. Sometimes there's a little bit of distance, but in general, very, very close to the Sun. And in the house of finances, and this may be like you immersing yourself in some practical matters that are connected to the money that you're earning. But on the 2nd, so this is right at the beginning of the month, Mercury goes into Leo. And Leo is at a friendly angle to you called the sextile. And that's the 3rd house that Gemini rules in astrology. So it's your domain, it's what you specialize in, and it can be something that is very chatty and, kind of like getting the latest scoop on everything. Mercury ruling this house means it's the house of communication, so you may be communicating more than you normally are, which, is quite extensive to begin with. But the 3rd house has many other things attached to it. It's the house of the mind. So any kind of course that you're taking at this time, and this may be just kind of researching courses, because you'll have the new moon here at the beginning of August. And that could be the time when you're actually beginning some kind of teaching or learning. But you could also be teaching. And I'm sure there are many Geminis who are working in the field of education. But because we're talking about this being the month of July, it may be getting paperwork about a teaching assignment, maybe getting something in the mail or an email about it, and a job offer. The 3rd house, if I'm not mistaken, can be about marketing and other forms of sales. Definitely communication in general, social media. You could be more active on social media. The 3rd house are your siblings. Maybe you're reaching out and talking to them more often. It could be, your aunts, uncles, and cousins, the 3rd house. And on the same day, Neptune goes retrograde at 29 degrees, 56 minutes of Pisces. So almost in Aries. We're almost there. Pisces for Gemini is your 10th house of career. So this is something, you've had Neptune in this sector for 13 years now. Oh, wait a minute, 2011, yeah, it's 2024, 13 years. But again, it may differ from Gemini person to Gemini person, but this can be a situation where there's some kind of disillusionment about career matters, because when Neptune enters the 10th house, this can, for some people, be a time when they are confused about what they should be doing. They they have some kind of identity crisis as it pertains to career matters. Um, I personally think because Neptune is the ruler of Pisces and that is like about spirituality, that it could nudge you in that direction because it's otherworldly. The 10th house is in astrology is ruled by Capricorn and its ruler Saturn, which is like diametrically opposed to the energy of Neptune. And, it can really be that like coming out to me. I don't know if any other astrologers have linked Saturn to the matrix, but I will. And it's coming out of the matrix, and meaning that the way that we are conditioned to think that we're supposed to do certain things to be good at to be accepted in the world. The 10th house is your status. All of those things can go out the window because you really are questioning them. You're like, okay, what's it all about? I was going to say, what's it all about, Elfie? But anyway, so when Neptune goes retrograde, that can kind of like the idealistic part of Neptune, because Neptune has its faults, but it also is very idealistic. It's also very psychic, so it can guide you at a higher level than the intellect, which you normally love to function. You love to use that to function with, but it can guide you at a higher level. So that can actually be a very good thing, but sometimes it can leave you in la la land, maybe kind of scattered. I think about the Seven of Cups in the tarot. So when Neptune is retrograding, it can kind of like pull the curtain back and you can really see exactly how you have been seduced by the fantasy of Neptune. That doesn't mean that you're going to abandon whatever its influence has brought to you, but it just means that you might have to get more grounded about it. If there has been anything with the father, I always think of the 10th house. These astrologers, I really don't understand why some say that the 4th house is the father and the 10th house is the mother. If any of you know why, please tell me, because the 10th house are authority figures. It's that masculine element of outer authority. So if you have been dealing with kind of this illusion of your father in some way, this could be a time when the mask comes off and you really see what's going on, or the fog lifts. And it's really a good thing to be in reality. It can feel like a slap in the face, it can feel harsh, but it's really good at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned. On the 5th, we have a new moon at 14 degrees of Cancer, so new developments with your financial stuff happening. Again, with Mercury going into that 3rd house, it could be some kind of job offer that's related to the media or education, and now you have a new source of income up, and it could be upcoming, or you're stepping into it. On the 11th, Venus goes into Leo, and this is the 11th house. I'm sorry, not the 11th house. That's that 3rd house again for you. And Venus in the 3rd can bring money for 3rd house matters, like teaching. It can be something with writing. Or what else? Blogs. Well, that's writing. but anything to do with social media. This could be, I was going to laugh, but I mean, it's really not funny, but it could be love through the internet. See, I could totally see some Gemini people trying to hook up with somebody online, not Tinder, but, a real dating service. On the 20th, Mars goes into your sign. This is significant because the last time that you've had this has been over a year, since March of 2023, when it hung out in your sign for 7 months. It's not going to hang out in Gemini for 7 more months, but it is going to be there for a while. And this is a great time to feel more physical stamina, energy. You may feel like getting involved with, like exercise. You may feel more assertive or desiring to promote yourself in some way. And then the next day is when the blue moon happens at 29 degrees of Capricorn. The blue moon, the second full moon in a month. The first one was at 1 degree of Capricorn. And as I record this, it's coming up in the day after the solstice. And this can be a time of the one in July on the 21st can be a time where you are purging emotions, meeting up with this shadow self, which I think that it's a pretty difficult thing for Gemini people in general, because I've said this before, that when I do thumbnails, and I'll probably definitely do this, like Midsummer Night's Dream, I depict Gemini people as fairies because of the lightness, the unbearable lightness of being. Well, that's what this could be, unbearable. The unbearable part is the scorpionic influence of that 8th house. And full moons can bring disclosure. They can bring unpleasant, buried emotions. But it has that purging effect. So it's really a good thing, ultimately. And I know that there are some Gemini people that are not uncomfortable with, more intense emotions. I've heard from you when I have done videos on the sun-moon combinations, for instance. Somebody has the moon in Scorpio and the sun in Gemini, and what that entails. And I think that when I'm doing these types of readings, I'm generalizing with characteristics, but I know that there are nuances. So there could be this you could look at it as spiritual download, but also just even on a more mundane level, you could have a psychological insight. Well, I don't know how mundane that is, but just something that makes you more fully aware of some of the emotions that you're carrying that might be more complicated, that are not as easy to digest sometimes. And this is a blue moon, so this could be very, significant because of the relative rarity of a blue moon. It's not like completely rare to have blue moons, but even when you have them, they're not all, what are the odds that they're going to be in a certain house? That kind of narrows it down even more so. Also, the 8th house, because it is shared resources, but also I think like dividends and investments can be part of the 8th house. So you might have some kind of real increase in stocks. The fifth house is speculation, so I think maybe gambling and investing could be in that house, but maybe the gains from it might be the eighth. You can play fast and loose with all of this. You don't have to just cling to these ideas necessarily. But yeah, I think that some of that can be true. And on the 22nd, the sun goes into Leo. So now we're going to start to we have Mercury there, we have Venus there, and now we have the sun there. So this really makes you embodied as a Gemini because your sun is in Leo. Well, I mean, if your ascendant is in Gemini, still, it'll give you that Gemini, whatever your sun sign is, it'll give you that sub-influence of Gemini in that third house. So it just, further emphasizes the desire to be a learner, a teacher, a writer, or other forms of communication. On the 25th, Mercury goes into Virgo, another sign that is ruled by Mercury. So, wow, Mercury is going into a Mercury-ruled sign. This is very mental. There's a lot of mental energy. So make sure, Gemini, that you're not getting overly stimulated mentally because you need that. That's like, what's that saying? Going from the frying pan into the fire. You don't really need more mental activity. So meditation would be awesome for you at this time. Virgo for you is the fourth house of home and family. So you're going to start to see the energy shift into that as we go into August. And this is an area that you're going to also start having eclipses. I mean, Pisces is going to have a lunar eclipse in September, and that will, because it's a lunar eclipse, it will oppose the sun in this fourth house and activate it that way. And then there will be a lunar eclipse in this area in March of 2025. So this is going to play a big role in the coming year for you. So Mercury here may give you news about real estate. You may be thinking about maybe selling a property and doing your research. You could be talking to your mom. You could be thinking about the past, thinking about your childhood. Again, with that full moon in the 8th house, that may have brought up something that was subconscious that had to do with the past, and now you're really kind of actively thinking about it. Okay, Gemini, that's what I have for you. I hope that this resonated, and if you would like a private reading with me, from me, I'm promoting my double readings called my deep dive readings, and this is really great for people that are having their solar return, or in your case, who have, we're still in Gemini season as I record this. Ooh, I just dropped something. Or, if you're watching or listening for Gemini rising, this is the time when the sun is in your first house. So it's a great time to think about new cycles. And this reading, this package deal called my deep dive, is an hour of natal chart analysis and an hour of transits for the upcoming 12 months. And so it gives you an idea of, with your particular chart, natal chart, what is happening. What can you expect? And I also have, if you like the tarot, I have like a 3 reading deal called the whole enchilada, where I include the tarot, and these are of course, specially priced because you're buying more than one reading at a time. I also have career readings. I have love readings. I've got readings for the child, one of your children, like looking at their talents, looking at their temperament. You can find out more information about these readings at the link below. Thank you for listening. Bye.